let's get into the second matchup on Friday, the Mountain West Championship game at Boise State. The Broncos favored by 4 points against UNLV, total of 57.5. You go back to the first meeting between these two teams on October 25th on, I think, a Friday night as well. Boise State was, I think, closed right around 4.5. So very similar point spread. The market adjusting from that game where Boise State pulled away with a 5-point win on a touchdown on their, I think, their final or second to last possession, but benefiting from a turnover right before half from UNLV. Also fourth down variance, going 4 for 4 on those late down attempts. But UNLV outgained Boise State in that game by over 1 yard per play, 1.4 yards per play to be exact. And I was talking to Brett about this before we got into the start of the podcast. David, UNLV ranks 21st in adjusted line yards allowed. So even if you go back to the injury that Genty suffered in that game, maybe an outside shot, or definitely an outside shot, but slim chance of having any shot to win the Heisman at this point. But I still think UNLV's run defense is set up to create havoc literally at the line of scrimmage, despite the fact that maybe the numbers in his first performance against UNLV were a little bit subjective just because he suffered the injury early on in that game. I think just 3.9 yards per carry overall for Genty in his first meeting against the Rebels. So any stronger bet for you, maybe pre-flop with the traditional spread, or you did have the total, the underlook in Tulane and Army, but anything here point spread wise for UNLV Boise?
Yeah, it's I think it's gonna be a close game. I actually caught a good chunk of that first game. I have too many friends that went to UNLV, and I've had to hear about them all year, and like hear about this miraculous run and all that. I think it's close. I think four is too much. So I'm taking UNLV on that one. That first game was good, and like they are able to stop. They're able to stop the run, and I don't think he's in the Heisman race. I mean, for him to kind of get back in it, I don't know what you have to do. I mean, but if he does it, like we'll know it, and I don't see that happen. I mean, you're talking what, like maybe 300 all-purpose yards, like 5 touchdowns. I don't see UNLV doing that. He's also launching a crypto like project like this week or something, which is like I don't know. I mean, not that I'm building that into the analysis or whatever. I was just like, this is weird. I mean, you're playing like the biggest game of your life, and yeah, I guess embrace the hustle. No, I like UNLV, and as much as home field advantage is going to get talked about Boise and all that, like it should be noted, like UNLV is like undefeated on the road this year, and that's pretty impressive for any college team, and especially someone like them. And UNLV has been they've kind of faced adversity all year, right? With like losing that quarterback early on, and everything there. So I think a combo of like them being able to stop the run, and this quarterback and just the story. I think they keep it close. I think they lose a very close one, but I also think they have a puncher's chance. And I personally, I am rooting for them to win because as much as I kind of like that program and stuff, it would be pretty funny to see them make the 12-team playoff because like they should not be in the playoff. Like them being in that playoff kind of defeats a lot of the purpose because they will be drawing completely dead in my opinion. So I'm taking UNLV +4. I don't have a strong opinion on the total. I think it's kind of right where it should be. So I mean, you kind of want to take the under, but I don't know. That could be a crazy shootout as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on the +4. I'll have a write-up over at thelines.com. Pretty much a consensus price in the market, but you can grab that -110 over at Bet365 as we record this here on Thursday, December 5th, a day ahead of the game, Mountain West Conference Championship. Brett, are you with us? So we're going to make it 3 for 3 on the Rebels?
It sure seems to be the sharp side at least. It's down from 5.5, which you're not missing a whole lot of percentage points by still getting it at 4 as long as you're getting it north of 3. I do want to point out, though, that UNLV did catch some teams at advantageous positions this year. They got Houston in the first game of the year when that team was just absolutely awful. They're much improved. Kansas, right before the bye week. Yeah. They were also playing poorly and turning the ball over. Syracuse, by the way, was in the middle of a 3-game road stretch. The first time I think that they traveled like west of Tennessee or something, like 50 years. And that was their only non-conference one. So they're, of course, focused on other things. And, Syracuse was able to pull out the win there. But the rest of the schedule is pretty bad. The next best foe I can see on here is Fresno State. I have them ranked 82. While Ashton Genty takes the spotlight for Boise, their defense has actually been really good. It's really solid down to down. They do give up explosive plays, and well, fortunately for UNLV, they have Ricky White and Hajj-Malik Williams that are both capable of explosive plays, as is really any running back that toasts the ball in there. And the one thing I want to point out about playing really well on the road, that was a good point. They've scored fewer points on the road. Of course, you have to look at opponents that they're playing here. But look, their defense is giving up about a field goal less when they play on the road, which, like, if your defense is traveling like that, I don't care who you're playing, you're in a pretty good position. So, yeah, it seems like UNLV is the correct side here. I think a field goal is probably about right for how this finishes.
So you're grabbing the +4, or is it just a lean with the
I'm
side?
I'm agreeing with your guys' +4. Let's put it that way. I don't have any actual U.S. currency on this.
Okay, fair enough. What do you make of the quarterback situation? Just change up mid-year, one sportsbook out there trying to sponsor before the switch happened. Right, exactly. Brett, what's your take, just because you follow college football closer than I do, at least?
I knew what was coming up. I knew
Exactly.
that Hajj-Malik Williams was. I mean, UNLV took some people were putting him down like a field goal, almost a touchdown degrade in their point spread and their power rating. And Hajj-Malik Williams has always been, in my opinion, a 1B probably headed in. And there didn't seem to be any panic. There almost seemed to be celebration from the team around when Sluka was finally like, hey, guys, I'm out of here. You can tell he's never really in it. And they know what their quarterback was. Hajj-Malik Williams is terrific. And I think the team was overcorrected for like a week. And then we saw them take it to Fresno State. And everyone was like, never mind. They're the same, if not maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, you brought up explosive plays allowed. You mentioned UNLV has been stout in limiting those. I think UNLV had 2 more, 6-4 in explosive plays the last time these two teams linked up, and a few of those, or a handful of them, came on third down. So worth noting with that too. And yeah, I think we're all in agreement UNLV's run defense is up to the task against Genty, or at least not allowing 300 total yards from scrimmage, to your point, David. That can get him back in the Heisman race, but very, very, very unlikely. Definitely not worth any sort of currency on that market. It is Travis Hunter times a million at this point, and the market reflects that.